Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Weiss here. Welcome to another episode as we continue our wonderful journey through learning new things, to interviewing people in hopes that you take some of this information, take it with you on your own personal journey, and hopefully you can pull something away from it. Tried a new intro. Tried some audio, which, by the way, there's a lot of great audio out there that is copyright free. So hopefully I don't get slapped with DCMA. And we'll see what happens there. The audio, I've got to give, I've been following this one individual who is a streamer, who kills it and shares information as well. Totally awesome. Goes by the name Harris Heller. Be sure to check out his audio on Spotify or any streaming platform, or just go to streambeats.com and you can actually download his music for free. So he created this world for music that you can use for anything. Use it for streaming, for background music, for anything like that. And it's copyright free. So you can just play it however you want. So a little shout out right there. I'd love to give definitely a shout out as well to all the new people in my network. I've had a lot of fun chatting with people. I actually have a conversation today with an individual we just met, sales enablement professional, learning development professional, where we're just going to hop on the phone a little bit later and have a conversation. And we've got some great interviews coming up in the next couple of weeks. So I'm super stoked. Thank you all for jumping in and joining the episodes. It's a lot of fun. Now, today's episode is super special. for two reasons. One, it's an episode about my mind, my process, my recalibration. And we're going to dive deep into my crazy mindset, where it goes, how it works, and what I need to do to succeed. Second thing is I'm streaming on a Friday. For the past 26 episodes, I have been streaming consistently on Wednesdays at 8:30 Central Time, 9:30 Eastern Standard. And there was a change that I wanted to do. Want to test to see what the audience would be like on a day like this. It's Friday, so probably half of you aren't even on your computers. You'll probably catch this later, which is totally fine. But it's interesting to see and test and understand what that audience participation is going to be like, what the viewership is going to be like. So always be able to step out of your comfort zone and jump into something new. And for me, this is totally different. Friday feels weird. It feels like it's a weirder day, right? I hope it's a good day. Now, be sure as we're going through this session, be sure to drop your comments in there. I read them off. I'll play them up on the screen. You get the flash and engage into the conversation. And of course, if you're just watching and you're enjoying, be sure to, leave a little like on there, or perhaps reshare to your friends and share it with everybody out there. Today's episode, talking about recalibrating the mind. This is such an important episode for me because, I'm always trying to strategize. I'm always trying to process, and I'm always trying to execute the best way I possibly can. And normally, when we set up any type of projects, when we're setting up anything, you have the greatest idea in front of you and you start to formulate it, you start to build it, and then you start to implement what it is. It doesn't matter. It could be this stream, it could be a project you're working on, could be anything of that nature. I was checking to see if my mic was muted, by the way. But here's the thing. Sometimes during that course of a project you've created, something that you're doing that you're passionate about, like I am with streaming, all of a sudden you start to get into your own head. You start to think about the things that are going well, the things that aren't going well, the things that you want to change, the things you want to move away from. It all starts to hit. And what ends up happening is it becomes a spiral effect. Or I should say not spiral, snowball. The snowball effect usually starts off with one idea where you're working on this. Is like, wow, I should really do this. As an example, I should stream on a Friday instead of a Wednesday. Well, why am I thinking that? What are the implications? What could be the success around it? Then all of a sudden you start to hit more and more. And for me, I want to share my personal story of my recalibration as of recent, because a lot of you may have noticed that my social engagement had slowed down a little bit. And there's a reason behind it. The content that I'm creating is not all video like it used to be. I'll tell you why. And where I want to go with this is even more important. But in order to do that, you need to gather these thoughts. You need to figure out what the hell it is you're putting together. And then you need to recalibrate your mind. You need to recalibrate your thoughts and recalibrate your execution. And that's what we're hitting today. Friends, this is going to be a fun one, right? So I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into the why. Why are we covering this? Simply the story behind what's been going on for the past couple of weeks for me. Then, of course, got to figure out what needs to be done, right? So look, you have to do something when you're in this recalibration mode. When you're thinking all these things, you got to do something with it. Because if you keep on doing that, there's a lot of repercussions around not doing things. It could affect you mentally. It could affect you physically. You've got to do something about it. And then finally, how to begin again. And I say that because my story revolves around something I'm already doing. But in order to re-trigger, recalibrate, I've got to do it all over again, even though I've already began it. And it's time to recalibrate all that. So let's get into the why and let's talk about the story real fast. So look, I have been creating content and streaming for the past 7 months with a clear focus on LinkedIn and with a clear focus of two things for me in particular. And also, by the way, I'm streaming on Facebook and I'm also streaming on YouTube. But my primary focus was on LinkedIn simply because LinkedIn gave me the ability to do live streams and I took advantage of that. And so there were two main things for me. One, I wanted to create content that was meaningful for people. There had to be a purpose behind the content that you're creating. And for me, it was, how can I continue to educate people? How can I continue to change the mindsets of those around me to hopefully take a huge chunk or something tiny, itsy bitsy that they can take with them and utilize on a daily basis? Because look, I'm not the smartest person in the room, period. I am, for me, I'm good at a few things and there are things that I'm definitely not good at. And the things I'm not good at, I'm trying to get better at. And the things that I'm good at, I try to even get better at. I'm trying to enhance those as well. But the things that I am good at, I wanted to share. I wanted to see if people would ingest it. The second thing that was super important to me, content creation is not easy. If you're trying to get into this game of content creation and you're on LinkedIn as an example, which is my primary audience, and you are trying to create this content, this meaningful content, and trying to push something out there, it takes a lot of effort. And trust me, it's a lot of fun for the first couple months. But then you start to realize how consistent you need to become in creating content. You need to show your consistency in engagement and so forth. So there's a lot more work that goes into it. If you're interested in getting into this game, especially reaching out to your LinkedIn network, if you just got access to LinkedIn Live, shoot me a message in the comments. We can chat, we can talk. I am an open book to share everything I know about what I have done so far. So perhaps maybe you need to avoid some mistakes that I might have made in the past. But going back to it, creating this content, having purpose, and one of the big things for me in the creation of content was I had a goal. 30 episodes, complete those consistently every single week. No matter what, plan your schedule, get it done, do 30 episodes. It's a lot of episodes, right? Because my content is once a week. I'm not doing 5 days a week of content. I'm doing long form content once a week that's just about an hour long. But my goal is just to do 30 episodes and determine whether or not I was having fun. Yeah. Am I having fun doing this and engaging with the audience? Am I having fun jumping into Adobe and learning about Photoshop, editing photos, doing these great graphics, and then also learning about the technology around OBS and StreamYard and all these other platforms and investing in this technology? Am I having fun with it? In 30 episodes, I knew it was going to take, if we do the math, it's almost 8 months worth of content. It's not a year, right? But we're getting pretty close to a year, just a little bit over. But the reason why I chose, am I going to have fun with this? It's simple. I didn't want to get stuck with it. Can you imagine making revenue into something that you're actually not having fun doing? Like, why the heck? There was a friend who always said it best. If we're not having fun, why the hell do we do it in the first place? You should enjoy what you do every single day. Whether if your profession is in sales, whether if your profession is in marketing, whether if you're a leader of an organization, it could be anything. But why do it if you're not having fun? And I thought 30 episodes, it's a lot of content, because every day I'm posting content as well, and I'm engaging every single day. But am I having fun? And then recently, I started having conversations with people past couple months. And, as I explained this show, as I explained all the episodes and what I was trying to do, I always hit them with those two things. It was, my mission is simple, like share information in hopes that someone can walk away with a piece of information and apply it to their everyday life. Perfect. They love that, the people that I talked to. But then when I got into the second part, it was mixed results. I'm not looking to generate revenue right now on this. I'm looking to see if I'm having fun. Some people were interested and asked more questions. It's like, what do you mean by that? Because that's not what you initially think when you do this type of stuff. And I would explain it and would process for people, because it's easy to process, but it's an emotional impact for me. So it's hard to express and display that feeling of happiness, right? Like I'm smiling right now because I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm enjoying talking to you. Here's the thing though. There were those who would look at it and say, well, how are you making your bread? Right? The cheddar, the cash. I don't know why money has to refrain to food. It's like, why would you do it if you're not making money? What's your plan to make money? And I would honestly tell them, I have no plan. Because guess what? If I have to research, if I have to understand, if I have to dive deeper into revenue generation when you're streaming and you're creating content, that's a lot more work to do. My calendar was balanced in creating content, dropping it in, and then doing this, going live. That was a lot just in general. And I'll explain what a lot is to me when it comes to it. But if you want to add the revenue generation piece, all of a sudden the world changes and the content that you're creating is just a little bit different. You have a different purpose, a different mindset. There's more time taken out of your day to generate that revenue. So I started thinking about that. And this is where the snowball effect happened. Didn't hit 30. I will. But here's the thing. I started thinking about, am I having fun with this? Yes or no? Well, if I'm having fun with this, does that exactly mean that I should start thinking about revenue generation? Well, if I'm thinking about revenue generation, what type of revenue am I thinking about? And for those of you, I'll just be honest. If you're getting into this game, if you're getting into content creation, if you're trying to do that, revenue generation is not just ad rev. And ad revenue is just if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, if you are on any other social platform except LinkedIn, they feed ads. Those ads, look, YouTube's going to make their buck and I'm going to make my cents. Perfect. That's how you can make revenue as one part. That's very difficult without an extraordinarily large audience. But there's other revenue avenues to take. For instance, you could get sponsors. Sponsors could pay you every month to display something across your screen that goes all the way across. Maybe in your intros, your outros. Maybe you're promoting their products on a regular basis through social media. That is one way of potentially doing it. Another way of going about it is potentially joining a company and having a company help you with all this stuff, and they just pay you a base salary, and then they take the rest of their ad revenue itself and everything else that you're doing. That's another way to do it. You could get funding and do funding around it as well. There's just so many different ways to make money in actually doing this. You can get affiliations with technology companies. Like, that's super cool, right? You can do an affiliation with Amazon. So if I were smart enough back in the day when I was doing the tech talk, I would have built an Amazon package of a microphone, of a monitor, of a camera, and would have put a package together for everyone to click on the link, purchase that package, and then I get a small percentage of it. Like, there are different ways to make revenue. And now you're noticing the snowball effect. Look where my mind went. Look how it goes. And this, I know, is not uncommon for everybody that's watching this. I'm telling you, we all get lost in our thoughts. We all get lost in these ideas. And there are so many important things you need to do to not stop it. Are you kidding me? Accelerate it, but be smart about how you're thinking about it, because now I'm thinking about revenue generation. I'm thinking about a lot of different things. And those things I need to start putting into the right mindset. And for me, as I start to think about these things, I need to stop for just a moment. Think about how I'm going to ingest and turn it into something. These ideas, is it a good idea, bad idea? If it's a bad idea, toss it. If it's a good idea, write it down. And then all of a sudden it starts to form into something. And for me, it started to form into goals. Look, I'm a goals guy. 100%. I like creating goals because I like to work from the highest level and then macro weigh it down, right? So understanding these things. And my goals at the very top are still going to stay the same. It's, creating content that is good for you, and it's good for me, and it hopefully helps you through your journey. Now, of course, that's going to shift. That is going to change from the macro level. Once you go down, it's like, oh, now I got to start thinking of other things. And these are, after all my snowball effect and going through, I started to think about, well, what do I need to do? So the very first thing that really went to snowball effect was my schedule. I had a pretty rigorous schedule. I live and breathe by my calendar. There was a friend of mine who always said, you live and breathe by your calendar, and always said as well, if you tell me you have no time in the day to work with me, show me your calendar. And if that calendar is packed, great. What of that packed calendar doesn't need to be there? And there's usually something. And at the same time, if there's nothing on your calendar, you're not busy. You're just saying you're busy. But for me, I think my calendar wasn't working for me. And I live and breathe by it. I do my work on it, but also I do personal stuff as well. I like to put down my schedule, going to the gym, going for walks, taking time for myself, content creation, social engagement, work, right? You have all these different things. And I like to, rather than having a task list a day on sticky notes, I'd rather just have it on my calendar, because then it notifies me and lets me know what I need to do. And I've been thinking a lot about that. And I really want to change the way in which I'm creating content. I really want to change the way in which I'm engaging, starting off with when I actually do all of that stuff. Now, and I'm going to show you like as a live example, what it's like for me to set up my calendar. I think it's so fundamental, but I think it's important. And everybody has this similarity that they go through. The second thing, applying new skills to profession. So look, I've been streaming, and I'm like, the hell am I learning here, right? Like I have been learning about audio tech. I've been learning about camera tech, which I should have a new camera soon. That's going to be a fun one. I've been learning about OBS, which is insane from a broadcasting perspective and from a learning perspective, especially from sales enablement, where my job is to reach out to sellers and managers and help the sales organization lift. I'm seeing great potential within OBS, but I need to figure out how it applies. And the learning mechanisms today in how we're doing things, this is definitely the next step. So if you are in learning development, if you are in enablement, training, anything like that, begin to learn OBS. You need to start to become creative. You need to start figuring out a new way in which you are going to teach people because people want something fresh, something new, and this is the way to do it. I'm not using PowerPoint. I'm literally using just OBS. And it's also going to require you to learn other platforms, right? You got to learn the Adobe Suite. The Adobe Suite consists of so many programs, but they're creative programs. And people who are trying to learn want something new, want something creative, want something different to ingest information. So now what I'm doing is figuring out how OBS applies to my virtual learning perspective. So when I create virtual learning programs in a live setting, I could do it through OBS. If I want to teach just from a recording perspective, OBS also allows me to record as well. So it gives you different options. And you don't want to just learn these skills and just apply it to one thing. You want to apply it to multiple things, including the profession you're in today. And I'll throw this challenge out there for sellers, especially. Learn OBS. And when you do a virtual call with the client, crush them with this type of format. They're going to be prepared for the usual, "Hi, how are you? Well, thank you for taking the time today to go through our product set. Allow me to share my screen. Can you see my screen? And let's share and do the walkthrough." Imagine doing it this way. Totally different. It'll blow everything out of the water. So this can start to apply to multiple different avenues of your profession. 3, I am thinking about producing a revenue plan. So this was a really hard one for me. My content was built for LinkedIn. Simple. LinkedIn is a professional network that focuses on, sharing information, sharing news, sharing knowledge, and networking with people. It is a network program. It is not an ad revenue program. You're not making money on LinkedIn, especially they don't serve ads, which is okay. That's fine, right? But then all of a sudden, does that mean I need to supplement, right? If I'm going to put a revenue plan in place, does my primary focus still continue to be on LinkedIn? Or do I focus my time and energy into YouTube, where I know if I post and I start getting views and I start getting subscriptions, there'll be a small piece of revenue, which, by the way, everybody, if you're thinking about doing YouTube and all that stuff, it doesn't happen instantly. You don't make a ton of money unless if you have 1 million plus viewers and each video is producing, let's just say 1 million views a piece, maybe 500,000 views a piece. It's not a major revenue generator, but there are other ways of generating revenue, which is affiliations, which is selling products from other people, which is a potential for me. And so I started to think about that more and more. And I will say this, I will not stop posting content on LinkedIn. But my purpose may no longer be for speaking to the audience as though it's LinkedIn. I need to speak to a broader audience. I need to speak to an audience that is global. And that audience may or may not be interested in my subjects when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to Facebook. But there's a revenue generation piece there that you need to start thinking about. So I won't stop. It's just the way in which I produce my content might be a little bit different. Now, let's go back to our goals because there was one final thing here. Introduce new ideas. You got to write this down, team. You've got to put it on paper, and you can do it digitally too. Or you see, I did a Photoshop with a whole bunch of stuff, and actually it's been fun putting it into Photoshop and making the images look great. But look, you're going to have tons of new ideas. Some of them are going to suck. Some of them are going to be great. And you're going to know it right off the bat. You're going to think of an idea and you're going to think immediately it's great. But then all of a sudden you're like, that's a pretty shitty idea. But there might be some great ideas. So when you start thinking about those new ideas, you need to figure out the execution plan of how you're going to put it into place. Now, if that's the case, you may need to remove things as well. Supplement. reconfigure, recalibrate. Look, there's a lot of new ideas I want to go through. I've been doing that, my channel has evolved constantly, which has been good for me and bad, both. One, the purpose kind of gets mixed, right? It's like, what am I trying to do? Am I trying to share? Am I trying to do these tech talks about my experiences using a Blue Yeti? Am I trying to do interviews to get engagement, to understand the story of those people and bringing it to fruition? Yeah, sure. That totally works. But for me in particular, these new ideas need to fit the purpose of everything I'm doing. Is it helping the journey of other people, which I want to continue doing no matter what? And whenever I add a new idea, is it going to generate happiness? It's weird. You think about that person on Netflix. They had that short stint. If you know the name of the show, please let me know. It's the person that would fold clothes. And if you throw things away, it'd say thank you. And it's such a happy show. But look, I don't know why it came up first. It was weird. But, it's got to make you happy. Right? Because if you're not happy doing something, you're not going to put 100% in. So those ideas need to reach the purpose behind it all, the happiness. And then also, is it going to help somebody? Because if it ain't going to help anybody, who cares? Right? Like, no one's going to want to watch this. No one's going to want to go through it and check it out. Why? It's your own personal thing. So, when it came down to it, I was looking at these goals and these are actually pretty simple and they actually break down even more, but I decided to just keep it high level because these are new things. This is what that snowball effect did. I stopped for just a moment. I started to write down everything. And then I started to formalize what it actually meant. Some things went together, some things got thrown out. And this is what it came down to. And one of the biggest things for me was my schedule. I was falling off my schedule in the very beginning. I needed to recalibrate. I needed to figure out why. And I was in my own head. I needed to be spit into a piece of paper. Which leads me to my calendar. Check this out. Empty calendar. I hate it. I hate having an empty calendar. Look. All right, let's change this camera. Come here. Yeah, perfect. Now, if you saw that and it triggered you, it's okay. It triggered me too. I saw that calendar. I was like, ugh, what is that? There's nothing there. But it also felt liberating to clear it out and start fresh. And I live and breathe by my calendar. That's one of the most important things. And what I'm going to share with you is how I look at my calendar, how I set it up, because this is how I stay organized. This is how I stay consistent when it comes to especially content creation and it comes to engagement and all that stuff. This is where I need to do it. Because if it's not there, it doesn't exist. And if it doesn't exist, you're not going to think about it again. It's in one ear, out the other. I might have a pair of headphone cans on, but it's still escaping if it ain't on the calendar. So look, my calendar setup is not that difficult, right? If I'm coming in and I'm working on my calendar, there's a few things I'm thinking about right off the bat that I want to share with everybody. I'm going to put in 4 different items that are extraordinarily important to me. And it's specific to content creation. I was in a chat, or I should say I was engaging on a post about calendar setups, tags, and so forth, and color coordinating and all that. And I do color coordinate my stuff because honestly, it helps me when I visually see it. Where's the block of like the fun stuff? Where's the block of the not so fun stuff? Because look, there's going to be non-fun things in here. But in my calendar, it is so important that it does exist. So what I want to share with everybody is what I plan to do and the things I want to add. So what I used to do is I used to break it down to 30-minute segments every day, Monday through Friday, in 30 minutes of content creation, 30 minutes in social engagement, every single day, Monday through Friday. Reason is you need consistency. But here's the thing about content creation is that 30 minutes, if you have a system in place, you might be able to get one video done. That's like a 2-minute segment. It's kind of okay quality and so forth. But for me, I want to up the level of the game. I want to be more consistent than ever before. So I know no matter what, my social engagement, I don't want to change. I actually like that. It's like good morning routine for me to have a cup of coffee, throw on some headphones, listen to some tunes. So let's throw on some tunes. What do you think? Here we go. So you throw on some tunes and then you start going at it. And so for me, the very first thing I like to do is get in here, 7 o'clock. Let's open this up to more options. And you actually type it out, everybody. Like, this is what you gotta do. This is how you stay organized. This is how you create these new goals and apply them. So here, social media engagement. There we go. Set your dates. Repeat daily because you want it every single day. And look, this is just like if you're, in your workspace, you should fill out everything no matter what. You're coming in, you're adding your notifications. I like a 30-minute notification, although I'm up earlier, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to do these in red because I'm wearing a red shirt today. And then in your description, you want to actually put your action plan of what you're going to do with your social engagement. So engage. Engage in 15 posts. Should take you about 10 minutes to do that. Just go down your list of very recent ones, go through, add, make meaningful content, and inspire other people in those posts. Add 10 new people to my network. Oh my God, those tunes. I don't know how the sound quality sounds for you all, but for me, it sounds great. But StreamYard doesn't allow me to just have an audio output phase through their web interface. I need a external mixing board in order to pump music out the right way. Whatever. So adding new people to my network. And when you're doing that, engage with them. If you're going to add them, no, it's okay. Tell them you're not selling anything. That's what people mostly want. And you want to do this on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. You need to engage in YouTube like you would any other day. Now I'm in here, got it, good, everything's set, boom, save. All of a sudden, it is set, ready to go. It is set for Saturday, so I don't need that in that particular manner. What we'll do is we'll change that. See, you make a mistake, but you want to get that out of there. I should do it on Saturdays as well. Now I'm thinking about it. It was actually a pretty good move. We're going to keep it on Saturdays and Sundays. Let's see how that works out. So social media engagement. Now, here's the biggest change I'm going to make, right? So the biggest change I'm going to make is content creation. Content creation, I actually used to do 30 minutes each day, Monday through Friday, which was great. It worked. I could do a Photoshop edit, but I want to create multiple pieces of content at once. So, I want to create 3 or 4 videos and 3 or 4 images, which gives me content for almost a week or 2 and has a library bucket ready to go. I already have a folder set up with all the inventory that is meant to go live and then a historical library for everything that I've already used. Sometimes you go back and reuse that stuff, but you probably won't. No one wants to re-see content unless if your audience grew massively, you can totally bring it back as a historical factor and have a lot of fun with it. But for me in particular, one of the biggest things I want to show you was that I want to spend at least 2 hours in a single session creating content. That is a lot. It's draining, but the music will allow me to keep on going. We're gonna lower that down all the way. You already get the idea. And what we're gonna do here is we're going to choose a day. Now, normally, I choose a day that makes sense during the week because I love doing stuff during the week. The weekend, I keep it open more. But actually on Saturdays, I actually want to create massive amounts of content, but not then. I want to go even earlier. There we go. And creation. I've already set this stuff up ahead of time as well on my other calendar. But to show you, description. Take videos and cut them. Create new mobile content. You need to start doing that. Photoshop content, memes, and articles. So save that there. I want Saturday to be my day. I just want to totally crush on a Saturday and do it. And I should be able to move that whenever I need to, whenever there is the most amount of space. Now, one last thing I needed to add that I didn't have on my last calendar that I'm going to do in this session is here. Strat. New content ideas. I like to have a session where I have my own time. Ideas brainstorm so I can create new ideas and formats and different things. So now all of a sudden, we're in a different world. We're doing new things, right? We're adding more calibration. Now, for those of you that didn't see that, there you go. You can even see it better here. But that's just the start. And my calendar is going to get filled up almost all the way so that I know exactly where my space is and how I do this. And I don't know if I'm going to do my videos every Friday. I might switch it up once in a while and just be like, hey, look, we're going to do maybe 2 videos a week. I've got a lot of content that I've got to create and a lot of ideas flowing through that I'm still actually going through today. But look, in the end, this is how I recalibrate my brain. I went into a snowball effect. I was in my own mind. It was one idea, one thought that spiraled and snowballed into hundreds of different thoughts and process. You have to recalibrate by first taking down that information and doing something with it. If you're not doing anything with it, like it's just gone. And actually you'll dig yourself in a deeper hole of thoughts. And it can impact you physically and it can impact you emotionally. So if I'm going to suggest anything, if this happens, and I know it does for a lot of you, stop for a moment, 1 moment, start to jot it down. That moment is to get a piece of paper, a pen. I know I have pens on my desk, or open up a spreadsheet or a Google Doc or any doc whatsoever and start to type it out. It feels a lot better. You're actually jotting down information and you might reset your path of what you're thinking about. It'll hone in. I promise you, that's how my brain works. It's weird. It's not for everybody. It's just how I process snowballed effects and how I need to calibrate. Create your goals. You're always going to have your North Star no matter what. That's why businesses create a mission and a vision. There's always a North Star that you're going after. So every time you introduce a new idea, every time you want to remove something, does that impact the North Star, your major goals? But you can create sub goals within that goal. So it's okay. And then the final part is execution. You have to execute. Otherwise, what was it all for? I appreciate everyone jumping in today. This is another episode of Live with Weiss, where we came in, we talked about recalibrating the brain. That's what the best part is. We're going to recalibrate. you have any questions, drop them in the comments down below. If you're recalibrating your own brain, you need someone to talk to, let me know. Drop it in. Shoot me a direct message. Also, let me know what the audio sounded like today. I did a little difference in my intros and outros and playing music through an interface that I don't know if it's going to work or not, or how it's going to sound, but let me know how the audio sounds as well. But for everyone that tuned in today and who's checking out this video, thank you. Be sure to comment. Be sure to reshare. I'll catch you next time. Y'all have a great weekend.